lately the global superstar.
Have you been desiring something? Perhaps have you been desiring becoming financially free? Have you been desiring having lots of money, becoming a millionaire, becoming wealthy? What have you been desiring? And what have you learned about desiring? Is desiring a good thing? And what does the word desire really mean? When you think about the word desire, what does it remind you of? Is it a yearning? Is it something that you really, really want? What do you think? Yes, that's exactly what it is. So today is 11:11 Eastern Time here in Miami, Florida. And I want you to set an intention. That's right. And setting an intention, I want you to be very conscientious and not to be yearning for it. Now, for me, a desire is like, oh my goodness, I desire chocolate. I desire I desire something so bad. So I could be desiring something and it's like yearning it, wanting it so badly. Well, my friends, if you have heard other money manifesting mentors tell you what is your desire, you need to desire it. I used to say that until Dr. Hawkins, MD, PhD, the author of Power versus Force, explained that desire calibrates energetically low. So, why am I telling you this? Well, today I'm going to be sharing with you how desiring is the number one, or maybe the number one vibe keeping you broke. Why you want to stop it now and win. And what are you going to win? You're going to win your manifestation, whatever it is you want to manifest. You know, if you Google Dr. David Hawkins' Map of Consciousness or Scale of Consciousness, you're going to find perhaps unauthorized images of his scale of consciousness. And in his scale of consciousness, he presents to us a representation of his research. And what did he research? He researched and he calibrated different emotions, different feelings. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Hello, everyone. I am Evie Diaz. I am a financial empowerment speaker, financial trauma healer, and I am the expert on the simplest method of manifesting financial freedom, which I call the F.A.B. MoneyScripting Method of manifesting financial freedom. Today, I'm coming to you through StreamYard because I've been having problems with my Wave tool. And I wanted to come live because I have gifts, ideas, thoughts, and an invitation to make for you if you are a full-time, heart-centered female entrepreneur over the age of 40. Perhaps you're a speaker, an author, a coach, a consultant, a content or course creator, or perhaps you're a healer or a therapist. If that is you, then let's talk about this research from Dr. Hawkins in the book Power versus Force, and why I really want to examine whether or not we should have this desire for money, desire for riches, desire. And I know that in the past, actually maybe 15 years ago, when I did my first DVD audio course called The Client Manifestation, I talked about desire. And I said that we wanted to have desire. Now, upon studying the work of Dr. Hawkins, I began looking at his map and or scale of consciousness. Depending on how you Google it, you'll find it. And is a chart. So if you can think of a chart like on Excel spreadsheet, starting from the bottom, going up, in the bottom, there are several feelings, emotions that are construed as force, meaning when you force something. I don't know how you feel about it, but I know that some people believe that you should force things to happen. So, for my understanding of his kinesiology or muscle testing that he did on several people, he talks about several emotions calibrating in that area of forcing, when you're pushing, right? Versus when you're in a state or in a place of power, when you're allowing, when you're in the flow. And let's talk about why this idea of desiring falls under the bottom of the chart, under forcing, and why it may be the very thing that is keeping you stuck in a place of not being the financially free fabpreneur future self that you want to be now. And so, by the way, if you don't know, we have a community we call our Heart Center Female Entrepreneurs, Fabpreneurs. And you're welcome to check out our fabpreneurs.com page. And that community is all about us focusing on feeling, acting, being, and becoming our financially free fabpreneur future self now. In other words, today we tap into that ideal image, identity of who we intend to be when we are where we want to be. In our community, we talk about financially free. When we reach the level of financial freedom that we have intended to manifest. And by the way, that's different for everyone. For some people, they may feel that $100,000 a year is financial freedom. For others, it may be $100,000 a month. And yet for some, it might be $100,000 a day. So when we look at this word and this feeling, Dr. Hawkins, in his scale of consciousness, he says that, and I'm looking over here because I'm looking at it, this idea of desire calibrates at about 125, which is kind of in the borderline between the lower emotion and the higher emotions, or let's call the lower emotion the limiting emotions and the empowering emotions that allow us to manifest more consciously of what we want to manifest, in this case, the financial freedom. And the reason why, if you want to understand a little bit more about the word desire, as I see it in his map of consciousness, is desire is like a craving. And a craving could lead to an enslavement, meaning, have you ever been pregnant? I never have. I hear that women get these cravings. They have to have it. I don't really know what happens, that they're feeling this desire, this yearning, this craving for some type of food, right? It is something that sometimes feels greater than themselves, and it may feel at times that is overtaking their thoughts, their feelings, their actions, and their way of being. So because of that, desire, if I explain it correctly, is kind of an enslavement. Let me give you another analogy. Let's say that you or someone you know wants this particular person, that they've fallen madly in love. You hear the term madly in love. And they must have that person. They go through all kinds of things just to be in front of this person, get their attention, have this person fall in love with them. They dismiss anyone else because they are fixated upon this. You could almost deduct that the person has this craving that is enslaving them. Therefore, this idea of desire, okay, can be very limiting to us. So perhaps by now you have heard about what I'm sharing, and perhaps by now you may even believe what I'm saying because you have experienced it. In other words, perhaps you've become enslaved by this idea of not having what you want, which is where the enslavement comes in. When we have a desire, we can say that we may be more focused on what we do not have versus what we do have. And because of that, we are being enslaved by it. And that is the idea that I want for you to have in your mind today as we shift from desiring something to really setting an intention, which I talked about on Monday, setting an intention and being in the flow and knowing with certainty that we are deserving, that we deserve, right? That we are worthy. And when we shift to that idea, right, we shift our energy. So let me give you one more example. Let's say that you were a middle child growing up, and I'm not really sure what the middle child syndrome is, and maybe I had it because I'm a middle child, but I never really wanted the attention of my mom. But I've heard of middle children who crave the attention of their parents because perhaps the adult child, maybe the older child may be taking too much time because maybe they're need more attention because maybe they have an addiction or have circumstances. And then you have the younger child that perhaps a parent may feel that they have to protect them more because they're younger, and, they're still growing and they feel like they must guide and direct and lead. And then the middle child could be left unnoticed. And perhaps because of that, this middle child may crave the attention of their parents, may feel less than, may feel not wanted, may feel not loved. They'll have a myriad of low calibrating emotions that may not allow that person to function well in childhood, in the adolescent stage, and even perhaps into adulthood. So when you can kind of understand these analogies that I've been sharing with you, perhaps you could understand why the concept of desiring is not where we want to be, but rather we want to be in a state of feeling good about who we are and knowing with certainty. So, for example, if you don't have middle child syndrome and your parent loved you, or a parent loves their kid exactly as they are, they feel certain that they're loved because of the little gestures, perhaps, that the parent does, because of the hugs, the caring, right? So the child feels certain. So the child has that certainty. And when you have that certainty, you know that you are deserving of your parents' love, of your mom's love. You could even say of God's love, right? You feel certain. And so when you feel certain, you know that you are worthy and you are deserving. And therefore, that's the place where we want to be as money manifesting women in business. We want to have certainty. We want to have confidence. We want to believe in ourselves, in our solutions, in our services, in our products, in who we are, and how we do what we do, and how we bring valuable solutions to the marketplace, to your clients. So when we feel that certainty, that confidence, we know that we are worthy of asking for the amount of money that we want for our services and solutions. We know that we can close the sale because we're feeling confident. And also we know that people are deserving, other people that we interact with, that they are equally as worthy as us. So I know we hear that phrase win-win, but win-win is really, for me, in a spiritual perspective, really us seeing that we are mirrors we mirror each other. We're mirrors unto each other. And therefore, when we ask for a certain amount of money for our solutions and services, we're asking from a place of certainty and confidence, knowing that we're deserving, and also knowing that the individual is deserving. And so we're not desiring them. Oh my goodness, I want them to come here because I want, them to experience this, because I need a client, because I need money. Now there's a shift there, and feel it in yourself. I need a client. I want a client. I need to share this because I need to make money in my business, versus I want to share this because I know it's going to make a difference in the lives of others. So I bring this to your attention because here in our Fabpreneurs community and our movement, as we've been calling it lately, because it's an energetic movement of shifting from who we used to be, or as Dr. Joe Dispenza refers to it, from breaking the habit of being our old self to being our fabulous, financially free, fabpreneur future self now. In other words, today we write, we speak from where we see ourselves as our financially free future selves. So we are taking that identity of that woman that we know we are on a journey of fully becoming, of fully being her. And so in our Fabpreneurs community, we talk about shifting from that idea of desire, yearning, almost feeling desperate for it, to how do we shift our identity and step into that higher self, that identity of our financially free future self. Because going back to Dr. Hawkins' calibrations and how that calibrates, desire calibrates at 125 versus love, for example, loving ourselves, loving our business, loving what we do, loving life, loving others, calibrates at a level 500. And it is more in a power stance in that scale of consciousness. So it is a higher number. The scale, by the way, is calibrated from like 20 to 1,000. 1,000 is enlightenment. So when we speak about where we want to be, we want to be in a place of, let's say, love, 500. Calibrate at that level. If you're wondering, average is 200, which is right at the borderline, which is where, unfortunately, many people, most of us are as a nation and perhaps as a world. And we want to move that up. And the way that we can do that is by shifting our identity from who we were to who we are becoming, and being today more like that woman we're becoming. And this is exactly what we are going to talk about Friday in our financially free Friday flow. I'm going to mention a little bit of this. And then I am offering you an invitation to join me for free in our upcoming class. This is a special training where you can see right here at the bottom, evds.com/become financially free. We are teaching a special class for heart-centered female entrepreneurs how to really shift in 90 days, how to shift from that low level energy of desire or desperateness or needing or guilt and shame to perhaps willing, to perhaps love, where you are vibing at a higher level. And so I want to invite you to check it out. You can go to my website at evds.com. In it, I'm going to share with you the F.A.B. MoneyScripting Method of manifesting financial freedom, and how you can take on that practice every morning, 3 to 8 minutes every morning, to move from where you are to where you want to be. In other words, who you are being, if you're being as your old habitual self, to being today as who you are becoming, your financially free fabpreneur self. And we're going to talk about the importance of your feelings. Your feelings are the energy, the vibration, how you vibe. Your feelings and the awareness that you have about the feelings is what gets you to take on that new identity. And of course, as we become aware of the feelings, we become aware that our actions are equally as important, and we must take aligned actions, not as who we used to be, but as who we are becoming, our financially free fabpreneur self. So we'll talk about the actions, and we'll move from that idea of your current actions that are probably being motivated by fear, right, into your future self, who probably is more conscientious, more aware, and speaks from a place of certainty and choosing and being fully aware that you can choose to be differently today in this instant. And then the third step, the third letter in the F.A.B money scripting is this B, which is the identity, the embodiment of abundance, of prosperity, of financial freedom. So first of all, if you are a heart-centered female entrepreneur over 40, I want to invite you to find us on Facebook or message me wherever you see this video to join our free Facebook group. We are in the process of asking people if they want to shift to a more private group in Kajabi or school. And for now, you can just find us right there on Facebook. Also, I want to make sure that you know that I have two more invitations for you. One is to come and tell us all about your business solutions, your business, you, who you are, what you want help with, all of that good stuff. And you can do that simply by visiting our Fabpreneurs community. And I'm going to go ahead and put that banner, because the first one was about this special training happening on Friday that you can go to evds.com, become financially free. And then the second one that I'm placing here is our community connections this Thursday at 4 o'clock. And you're invited to join us at 4 and come ready to connect, to make a real connection, to share, to ask questions. And we'll be happy to share with you what we're all about. And we'll ask you, how can we help you? Who's your ideal client? Who can we refer you to? What do you need help with? And then, of course, I want to make sure that you check out our yearly conference. It is happening starting October 30th with a bonus all access training. It's a 4-hour hands-on workshop. And then officially it begins on the last day of this month of October. That is Friday, October 31st at 9 a.m. for the all access crew, where we'll start with some networking at 9 a.m. on Friday, October 31st. And then we'll culminate on Saturday, November 1st at 5 p.m. So it is a 2.5 day conference to help you to move into that financially free fabpreneur future self. And the way we're going to help you is we're going to be doing a lot of hands-on workshop style training where you will learn, number one, how to communicate confidently to yourself, and with clients, so that you know exactly what to say in one-on-one calls, one-to-many presentations, as well as when you're in a sales call. You're also going to learn how to create a community, because everybody talks about lead generation, and lead generation, you may know by now that it must be an ongoing thing in our businesses if we want to continue growing and if we want to enjoy prosperity, abundance. Therefore, one of the easiest way that I have discovered is by building community. So we're going to talk about how do you build a community and what do you do to continue that community so that you and the community keeps growing. And then, of course, we're going to talk about other topics, including AI. And of course, I'm going to be talking about the money mindset and the money energy, and the F.A.B. Money Scripting Method of Manifesting Financial Freedom. So go ahead now, please, and check out with your own two eyes. You can go to evds.com/moneyfest2025 or go to moneyfest2025.com. Either one will take you there. And I invite you to go there because I want to have you enjoy this very experiential virtual event that we're putting together for you so that you end the year 2025 feeling empowered, enthusiastic, and inspired to do better in your business, to grow into 2026, and to make 2026 your best business and financially successful year. If that is something that you want, my friend, then make sure to visit MoneyFest. And I put only money 2025. I apologize. You want to visit moneyfest2025.com right now, because that is where everything is happening starting on October 30th with the All Access Pass. All of this, we will share a lot more tomorrow, Thursday at 4 o'clock in our Fabpreneurs Community Connections and Networking Gathering at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. You could check all that out simply by visiting our fabpreneurs.com page also. I know I've given you a lot of URLs. I just want to make sure that you know that you have access to all of these resources. And really, if you go to ebds.com, all those other pages will be there. Feel free to connect with me wherever you see this video, because I want to connect with you. I want to hear from you. I want to learn from you. I want to share with you. I want to connect with you, because I know that together we can have more fun in our business, and we don't have to feel so solo in our entrepreneurship journey. So I'm Evie Diaz, financial empowerment speaker, financial trauma healer, and I am the expert on the simplest method of manifesting financial freedom. And I want to share with you how you too can feel, act, and be a financially free fabpreneur in 90 days. And I'm going to share that with you tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday in our training. Make sure to check it out. For now, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here with me. And please let me know how I can support you, how I can help you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow, Thursday at 4 o'clock, and then Friday again in the show as well as in the training. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Bye.